So, hi Sue, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
How are you? You're okay? You said you got a bit
Yeah,
of a
I'm really
headache.
good, thank you.
You're all right though.
Yeah, just well, we just got to do the best we can with the situation that we're all in, yeah, and just pull together.
Yeah, definitely. So if you could tell us, if you could tell us who you are, like, and what you do at the moment, and then maybe start from the beginning, how you got into the beauty industry.
Sure. So I'm Sue. I've got a successful beauty salon that started 21 years ago, and I would say that I fell into the industry. It was just, someone mentioned, "Oh, we've got a room in the back of a hairdresser's. Would you consider it?" And it snowballed from that. And um, I didn't realize back then the strong work ethic I've got, even though I had my daughter very young. I was a young mum, single parent. And when I look back, because the thing is, guys, when you're living your life, especially when you're young, you don't reflect, you don't look back. But now I look back, I always worked.
Yeah,
I would be a nanny, I would be a cleaner, I worked in a factory. It was all about working and being independent. But I didn't realize that then. Now I look and I've got such a strong work ethic. I think it drives a lot of people mad, to be honest.
but
But
that
it's
drive,
in me, it's part of me.
yeah, and that drive to be independent. So you mentioned you had your daughter young. So could
Mm.
you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, and she's now. Oh, my daughter is now coming up to 37. We've got one grandchild, Isaiah, who we love dearly. He's 6, and we're about to give. Sorry, she's about to give birth. Because that's how I feel. I'm passionate about my girls. I've got 2 daughters, and she's going to give birth in my oldest daughter in April. Um, so I was one of the mums. I fell pregnant at 14. I had her at 15. I was one of the ones that never told anyone. So the first person that knew that I was pregnant was my mum 2 hours before I had Naomi 37 years ago. So, but people are like, well, you obviously went to doctors, you obviously had antenatal. No, 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 nothing. And of course, what we was ago, there was no internet. So I didn't read up, I didn't know what was happening to me. It was lucky enough a really good pregnancy because I didn't have all the woes. Um, so 4 hours before I had her, I just finished school playing rounders, and I was getting these pains. I know. When I look back, it's crazy. It's crazy. But at the time, I just went with it
You were
because mum and
14.
dad. Yeah, well, mum and dad were really strict. And they always said to me and my sister, "You guys get pregnant, you're out."
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh God!" So of course I got pregnant. So every month I'm thinking, "I'm not showing. I'm not showing." So I'll tell them next month, and then next month, 9 months later,
Wow.
yeah. And the thing of it is, 37 years ago, guys, there was an adoption person ready to take my Naomi away.
Mm.
And if my mum and dad had, or my dad had been strong enough and said to me, "She's going," I'd have said, absolutely. Mum and dad, obviously, not that I disgraced them, I let them down. But lucky enough, in the hospital, I'm in bed, in the hospital, dad says to me, then the adoption person's there, dad looked at me and said, "Babe," because I was the youngest of the family, "what would you like to do?" And I said to dad, "Dad, I'd like to keep her."
Oh, wow.
And dad said, "That's it, we keep her." And then we kept her.
Oh,
So yeah, I know, it's, when I look back, it's crazy, but you just roll with these things. So
definitely.
yeah, that's the story behind having being a young mum. And of course, there's challenges. I love a challenge, though. I do. I realise I love a challenge, and I do rise to the pressure. And I do rise to a challenge. Mm.
So once you'd had her and wonderfully you kept her, um, then issues maybe started at home, like
Yeah,
with
Kim,
mum.
exactly that.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to me, mum and dad had a conversation and said, "We will bring her up." But once again, thank God mum and dad didn't sit me down and say, "So this is what's going to happen. You're far too young. You cannot bring a baby up. We will bring her up and you'll be like big sister." Because I would have went with it. I
Mm.
don't know how long I would have went for it, but I'd have of course I would have conformed, because back then you did as well.
Yeah.
That we didn't have that conversation, which thank God. So Naomi would cry, me and mum would go to her, and so 4 months on, I don't know, me and mum had a blow up. Mum said, right, I don't want you here. She didn't really mean it, but I took her literal. I grabbed Naomi and I took myself off to the council. And there I was at the council saying, I've been chucked out. But to be honest to mum, she didn't really, not, And I said, I need to be housed. And they did. They housed me in a homeless unit. And I was there for 4 months, and they gave me a council house. I was the youngest person in the whole of the UK to get a what is it, you have to be 18 to have a tenancy, but
Wow.
I was by then I was coming up to 16. They waited till I was 16. They gave me a tenancy, an unusual tenancy, until I was 18, which I suppose back then as well they were trying to say that we've got faith in you, but I had faith in me. I think if I could say one thing to people, is to have faith in yourself, which I know it's easier said than done, because we all have different woes and different things and different paths, but having faith in myself has got me to where I am, for sure.
I mean, that's amazing, because actually to think of you being kicked out at that age with a baby, it's amazing no one took her away, and that social services didn't jump on and stuff. So you must have been presenting something that made people think, okay, she's got it covered.
Which is bizarre because someone only asked me maybe a couple months ago, I must have had a social worker. I never had one. I don't know. Yeah, they must have seen something. They must have seen I was a stable person. Yeah.
Brilliant. So like you say, you started working. I know you did some cleaning and you did stuff like that. But when I first met you, which was a very, very long time ago, you were working in, I've forgotten the name of the shop, but it was makeup counters and stuff, wasn't it? What was that shop?
Okay, so Owen.
Yes.
Owen. Yeah.
Yeah, in the butter market and stuff. I think I'd seen you around before then, but that's
before then I was Boots.
That's it. Yeah.
Ultra low. Yeah. So still makeup. Yeah.
So you kind of got involved in makeup and stuff like that. Is that how, through the shops?
Through Boots. I was always looking for jobs. I just loved them and working. And I didn't know at the time that was what it was. I didn't know that I had this strong work ethic, because my mum and dad both worked, but they never pushed us as children either. They didn't push us to do university. They just weren't those parents, because they weren't parented like that. So they just, brought us up and just hope for the best, which a lot of parents back then, especially, where I lived in Acton. So that's, that was the norm as well. Just to get on.
Yeah. So from working in those makeup stands, obviously you got more involved in the beauty industry.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the interaction. I loved doing makeup. I like chatting to people. I just like connecting with women. I have this real strong bond with women and helping women, and because for years we've been or still are as well, in countries with second so I have this real women together, we're so blinking powerful and we don't know it.
Yes.
Which is frustrating.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on.
Let's not get with you on that. We could be here for a really long time. So I remember you worked in London at one point as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So I went to Harvey Nicks.
That's it.
Done Kylie Minogue's makeup and Harvey Nicks. But what also brought me back is I had a family quite young, and that was just a taster. There was an opportunity to live there, to have a career there, but I had my children, so they came first. So that was a nice little snippet. From that, I won a couple of awards with Lancôme, which was amazing. Then just came an opportunity. I was in the hairdressers. My hairdresser, then Lindsay, Lindsay very well.
Yeah.
Just said, the beauty therapist isn't working out. Sue, I know you do makeovers. Would you be interested in renting a room? So I said, oh, how much is that a week? She says, just £50. I was like, £50? Where am I going to earn £50? I was like, oh, no. She's like, I can sort it so you can have 3 months free. And even then I was like, oh, I don't know about this. But I went for it.
Mm.
I went for it, and I've never looked back.
Certainly
Yeah.
haven't. You certainly haven't. So I remember, because I, used to go in that hairdressers. You had the room at the back, and then you moved and got your own salon round the corner.
Yeah.
This is on Old Foundry Road, isn't it, in Ipswich?
That's right. Yeah. So I was at the hairdressers for 2 years, and I was just chock-a-block, really, really busy, and it was obvious I had to do something about that. So I said to the owner, Maurice, I'm going to start looking for my own place. I want to tell you personally, just in case you get Chinese whispers, that I'm going to leave. But obviously I want to leave on good terms, because in work, that's what you should always do. And in life, always try and leave things nice and smooth, and keep doors open is really, really important. And he said, so there's a place around the corner. And it was perfect. It was just around, like, literally 2 doors away.
Yeah.
There for 11 years, and yeah, that was the making of my career. Just being there, and working all the hours God sends, and just being at the forefront, getting ideas, running with them.
And so how did you go from sort of doing makeup to because I mean, you're one of the leading sort of beauty therapists, really, aren't you? So how
I think being leading would be passion, though, that you've got to have spoonfuls and heaps of passion, which I've got with anything that I do. I'm very driven, very focused. But that came, so because Lindsay said, but you've got to be able to do wax. And I'm like, what, wax people's stuff? It's not what I want to do. It's not where I want to be. But I realized, okay, if I want to do it. So I go to London, I do a crash course in beauty, come back, and that's how I started doing the beauty side of it. It wasn't something that I was interested in, and waxing definitely wasn't. And then waxing became one of my, because I didn't want to do it, so I made myself, and I thought, right, I'm going to be good at this. And I was amazing at waxing. So that was the start. My nails, it was quite frustrating, because we became known as a nail salon, because I and my staff were really good at doing nails. And I done my nail course at Suffolk New. So I done the MBQ 3 part 19 nighttime to do that. And
all the while you're doing all this, you've got 2 children.
Got 2 children, got a husband. Just
so
juggling. Yeah.
Amazing. And then I remember coming in the salon, and it was small, wasn't it? It was a small salon.
It was tiny, yeah.
And it was always full, but it was always lovely. It always had a lovely atmosphere. But it became obvious that you had more clients than you could shake a stick at, knew what to do with. So then what was the next move?
Well, now, see, it's funny, because I am definitely driven, but I don't have big ideas. They might present themselves to me. I'm not sure how it all works. But part of my driving force was my youngest daughter, Kimberly. My youngest, oh my gosh, she's forever looking for properties, or forever shoving them in my face. Mum, what about this? What about this place? What about this place? And number 16 Old Foundry Road came up. But before that, she would be looking at these massive places. Like, I didn't have money for these massive places, but she has massive vision. Anyway, so Old Foundry Road, number 16 came up, and we grabbed that. 11 years rent, and this time it made sense to get a mortgage and buy number 16.
And it was on its knees, wasn't it? It was an old building that used to be used as like an unemployment, I can't even think what it was. It was like a drop-in centre.
For drug and alcohol abuse, and very well calls. Yes, and it was moved the other end of town, that service, which left it this, and it hadn't been, no one had been in it for a couple of years, so it was in a really bad state. And Yeah, we just moved in. Michael, my partner at the time, he put a lot of time and effort to make it this wonderful building that it is now,
Mm.
and we just flourished. Yeah,
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 completely revamped. It's a gorgeous building.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, and straight from day one, it was just completely successful.
Successful. Yeah,
Yeah,
instantly.
yeah,
Mm.
and never looked back. So it's been a fantastic journey. And like I say, I think you obviously are still moving forward. There was a second
Yeah,
salon opened, and there's, you know, other ideas in the pipeline.
yeah.
I think the thing, because you're one of the people I always cite as being inspirational to me, and one of the things I really learned from you, I think, was that idea of there's always a solution. There's always a
100%.
solution.
Mm.
And you have really have that attitude, don't you? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, there's a problem, what can we do about it?
I think that comes from me being hugely dyslexic.
Okay.
So, because of being dyslexic, you have to be able to um, find ways of doing things and be a bit more artistic and just think outside the box. So I think that's come from that. But I love solution. I love doing a solution. If there's a problem, I just think, let me sort this out. There is always a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's actually really helped to change my mindset. I still have the moment where I go, oh, for God's sake, it's all gone wrong. But then I go, okay, right, how can we solve this then? And
yeah.
I think that's a really good lesson. Is there any other tips that you would give out, or any other? It's hard when people ask you that, but I mean, any other things? I think you've said be passionate and love what you do.
And but you have to. I think you have to like yourself and believe in you.
Yeah,
And I, I think my that has been is I didn't learn that. I think I don't know. As we're born, I think we're all made a little bit different, all of us. And unfortunately, you'll have some people that just don't believe in themselves all their life, and they question themselves all their life. And I just find that so sad. And then you have people like me that just believe in myself.
mm,
And I haven't taught myself that. I genuinely believe in myself.
mm.
I don't know where it's come from. I wasn't nurtured like that. I feel it was always in me,
Yeah,
and I've nurtured it. That's what I truly think. And I've always believed in myself, and I think that's held me in such good stead
yeah,
throughout my life. And be passionate and honest. And one of my favourite things to do is I love nurturing my girls. Um, just last week, I done a call to all of them. It was a WhatsApp, so it was me recording. It was every individual one of my girls. I thanked them, touched on them personally, what they've brought to the salon, because they've all made Image grow. All my girls I've all had that have been good. They've all been part of the growth of Image. It hasn't just been me, and that would silly to think me. Oh yeah, it's just been me, because it hasn't. These girls have helped me along, but equally I've helped them along with their journey, because I like to help my staff, not just when I help them in Image, it helps them grow outside of Image, and hopefully gives them the tools to become, you know,
yeah.
believe in themselves and they
And
can do this.
your girls have got, I mean, your stepdaughter's now set up her own salon, hasn't she?
Uh,
And
yes, Danielle has. She's doing
she's
amazing.
gone
My
off to
Kimberly,
Dubai and done
yeah,
stuff. And
yeah. I mean, Kimberly
so,
is doing amazing. Naomi lived in Dubai, so it's that self belief that you can do well,
yeah,
even if life is throwing you some curveballs. Being getting pregnant, possibly Naomi was going to be taken away from me. All these curveballs bring you to where you are right here, right now.
definitely. And you can learn that self-belief. I think if you're born with it, like you, which you know, you've got it innately, and that's amazing. But that confidence and that self-belief, it can be learned, and it can be practiced. And the more you talk to yourself kindly, and the more you do stuff, and the more you push yourself, the more confident you become.
For
um,
sure.
And I think that thing of taking that minute to go, okay, it's all going wrong, and especially at the moment, because my goodness, it's never gone as wrong as it is right now, but we can still
Sure.
find positive in it.
Yeah, we still can, for sure. I mean, my business, what it's going to be, if we start the year March and we finish it in March 2021, that will mean my business was closed 7 months of the year. Yeah, 7, 8 even. But we are going to make 2021 the best year ever. So we are putting things in place now to do that. And so it's taken, you plow forward and just try and be the best that you can be. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for talking to us. It's
You're welcome.
always a pleasure. And yeah, good luck with 2021 and making that
You
the
too,
best
honey. You too.
ever. Thanks, Sue.
Oh.